Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Monday, Tom.
Yes, it is. A good Monday morning to you and
Tax
everyone else.
day.
Yeah, I don't need to be reminded of that. Thanks. Maybe others do, I guess. So is that what came up on your pop-up calendar?
That was the one thing that came up on my calendar app was it's tax day. Which is weird if you think about it, because we know it's the 15th, but because of the Saturday, and I think it's Washington, D.C., doesn't do something on Saturdays. So whenever it falls on Saturday, they move it 2 days later to accommodate D.C.
Well, sometimes they accommodate Boston because it falls on.
Yes, that's the other one. You're right. Patriots Day, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Patriots Day where they run up the hill and all? They have the marathon?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that hill?
I have not.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I drove up it. It is quite the hill.
So why would you run up it?
Because you decided to do the marathon and you wanted to get to the end.
Got it.
Yeah. So, not that I'm a marathoner. I don't want anyone to believe I'm a marathoner. I'm far from it.
That hill
the
is
marathon
like
I'm running is life. What's that?
So that hill is probably like doing my taxes. Not yet at the top. All right, everyone. Good morning. Enough of our little silly banter. Welcome to this Monday morning edition of today's Antidote, where we try to provide that one thing. We'll have a conversation around a topic. Our topic this week is faith. And having faith, or what it is what we're going to talk about today. And so if you want to join in the conversation, please feel free to put a comment in the comment section, because it always adds to our conversation. And at the end, we'll provide our one thing about faith and what it is. And we hope that if you have something else, you will also offer your one thing, because we know that either way, it'll be beneficial to someone out there as they try to move forward along their own unique pathway to success. And before we talk about faith, and hopefully people have faith every morning that we will show up at 8 o'clock. Some days it's 8, some days it's a little bit after 8. So they have faith that, yes, we're actually not going to stop after 319 episodes, that we will continue. We do have a number of things coming up in the rest of the month. Would you like to share some information about that, Bob?
I would love to, Tom. There's the Wednesday check-in and check-up. This is a great way in the middle of the week to get a chance to talk to other people about what's going on, what they've accomplished, what they're trying to accomplish. Great chance to network and find out more about each other. That's every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, right there in the Facebook group. And then there's always on Thursday, May 27th, walking right into that holiday weekend, a Renegade Roundup networking event at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That is your chance to do networking in a unique style that Tom and I have perfected that gets you actually talking to people in ways that you will ultimately develop opportunities for business.
Well, it's interesting. There's always networking on May 27th. Well, it's not always on May 27th. It's always on the first day.
Are you coming up foggy there, Tom? You froze on me. Or did I freeze on you?
No, I think it might be suffering.
One of us is frozen.
Keep talking. It's not you.
Okay, I will keep talking. So, hey, folks, our topic today is faith. And I'm going to go old school. Yes, I brought my nice little dictionary out again because I got so much criticism last time because I didn't look it up on my phone. I'm going to give you the definition of faith so we can start from a good place. First definition, allegiance to duty or a person or loyalty. Also, fidelity to one's promises is a second one. Sincerity of intentions. And something that is believed in, especially with strong conviction. So I think the key to faith in terms of what is it is that it's more than just, yeah, I might go to the mall today. It's intention. It's really being focused on something. Or I'm not just going to make business calls today, but I'm going to make calls with the goal of helping people. My intention is to help other people. In the process, I might generate some revenue, but my foremost goal is to help other people versus I'm going to make sales calls so I can be a millionaire today. I don't know that the second one works as well. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I think I was thinking about it in a different route. I was thinking about it in a route of if I do what I believe is right, or real for me, shouldn't say right, what's real for me, then the things will happen that I'm hoping they will happen, that I will get results. Not necessarily always the results I expect, plan, want, but just know that I will get them and then I'll be able to move forward. You know, I think to me, when I think about faith, it's one of those things that we believe that when we do something, something else will happen. And I think so often we set expectations about what's going to happen. And that's not really faith. That's sort of like, I don't even know the right word, but it's like dreaming. Yeah, this is the dream that could happen. I don't think that's faith. I think faith is, I'm going to take this action and I believe that I'm going to get a result. And I believe that the challenge, I think, so often is that we think it's going to be beneficial in one way, and typically it's beneficial in another way. It's not always about beneficial in the results that we want. It's beneficial because we got results, and we are then able to take something away from that. Is that, I mean, I know that's a little different than what you talked about.
No, that's fine. I love the discussion. I was trying to integrate some comments. I'm struggling to figure out who's saying what, but here's one comment from Tim. I like Paul's definition better. I don't think he means Peter, Paul, and Mary. I think he means different Paul. Faith is a substance of things hoped for the evidence of things not seen. And I think that's really important to talk about what is not seen. To me, faith is that thing that you can't, we go to bed each night with faith that we're going to wake the next morning and that the sun's going to rise and we're going to have all the things that we expect to have. That's faith. We don't think of it that way. That's just going to bed at night. But there's a certain amount of gamble there.
Sure.
We're vulnerable when we're sleeping. And DJ Phil D, I had to get that right. Hey, DJ Phil D. Some people place faith outside their lives on an external deity, God, person, or saint. I place my faith inside my life to develop my life goals and determinations.
Yeah, I think that's, it's, I think there's what's real for each of us, right? For some of us, we want to have a belief, a faith in something, just as whatever that is, whatever is real for each of us is going to be the thing that helps us believe that if we take whatever action, we are going to get the results that we hope for, or that will develop into whatever it is that we want. Because otherwise, if we didn't have faith in that, and maybe this is something we'll probably talk about later in the week, why do it? Like, what's the purpose and the point?
Right.
If we just, it's like, yeah, I think it was a little bit of what you talked about earlier. Yeah, I guess I'll make these calls and hopefully it'll make me a millionaire. Okay, that's one way to look at it. In some regards, you might almost be better off not making the calls if that's the expectation that you're going to have. It's more about what is the result that I likely will get. And again, you could become a millionaire. It is possible. But I think if that's your expectation, the likelihood that you will struggle and probably have a little more lack of faith in the future because you're probably not going to get the results that you hope for.
And I think what you bring up is really important. There's got to be intention. So to me, when we have the word intention, that means you have an expectation that something's going to happen. You've thought it out. You've planned it out. It's not just, hey, it's Monday and I owe the IRS $10,000, so I'm going to go out and buy a lottery ticket so I can win $10,000 and pay my taxes. Now, while that's a conceivable possibility,
Correct.
I can't rule it out, but the statistical odds of that are tiny. And if you're banking your whole life on that today, you're probably banking on the wrong thing. And I think one of the things I see when we talk about faith, where I see we often struggle, I know I struggle, is the person I have the least faith in on a daily basis is me. I have a lot of faith in the people around me. I have a lot of faith in the world. I find that having faith sometimes is a lot like having self-doubt. Even if I'm doing all the things that are the best things I can do, I'm using my skills and all that, I still struggle some days with having the faith, because when the day comes when the results don't align with what you were expecting, that's frustrating. You send out an email to 3,000 people. You'd figure 5 of them would buy your book. No one buys the book. I'm not upset about it. I'm not bitter.
You mean this book, The Renegade
That
Way?
book, yes. That book that we still have 5 more copies of.
Okay.
But there's the thing, and you're going through this in writing a book. It's a great example. You have to have faith to write a book. I've now co-authored 2 and written a 3rd and helped about 10 people write their books. The one thing that's common to all those experiences, the person writing it has to have faith that they have something that's worth other people hearing. That's one of the things I've worked with people on. It's like, okay, what can you say? What do people need to hear? Oh, well, they need to hear this. Okay, there's your book.
Sure. And
but you saw the book process up front with me, right? It took almost a year. It's not a whole lot of fun. I mean, I love to write, but it's not like you don't get ticker tape parade every time you complete a chapter. People don't throw money at you when you walk down the street. When the book comes out, a core of people say, hey, that's really great. I'd love a copy. But then you've got to market it. And you have to have faith through that whole process. And that's no different than the person who's recording a musical album.
Sure.
Or the person who's doing a movie. Or the person who's starting a business this very morning and wants to help the world with whatever problem they want to solve.
Correct. I think it's all, to me, a lot of it goes back to what are your expectations? If your expectation is, I have something I want to share with the world, whether it's a book, music, a business opportunity, a product, a service, I believe that I have something that is beneficial and I want to put it out there because I think it's going to help someone. I think when you're doing that, it's easier to do. Not that it's easy, it's just easier than if the expectation is, I'm going to do this because I'm going to, be a best-selling author, because I'm going to be a platinum artist, because my business is going to go through the roof, and next thing you know, I'm going to be a millionaire. I think what happens is when those things not only are not easy, they sometimes take a long time to develop and to happen. And so when we don't see the results because that was the expectation, it's really hard to have faith to say, okay, I'm going to do the next thing, because the next thing is going to help me move forward. It's funny, as you were talking about that, it almost got me thinking about, well, why don't we have our own ticker tape parade when we sell a book, we complete a chapter, when we sign a client? I think it's because so often the expectation is it's not just we're going to do one of these, it's we're going to have hundreds, thousands, millions. And because that expectation is so high, one seems like nothing, or the completion of a chapter seems like nothing. The writing of the song before you even perform it doesn't seem like that. And I think one of the things that we try to really stress within our group and within the Renegade Success Network is celebrating each step along the way. So if we had a ticker tape parade every time you wrote a chapter of your book,
or you,
well, that's Correct. How much easier would it be to want to write the next?
It would be great. That works very well for me. I like a good celebration. And Tom, I'm going to jump in and celebrate some people who commented this morning. John, good morning. John, good morning, John. We got Johns every which way today. Tim says, if a farmer had no faith the seeds would sprout, what would the purpose be in sowing? That's a great question. And then John, I knew John would get there with this. John Hanson proofread my book and he found some spelling errors. He was quite excited about that.
Yeah, well, and I think it's funny because while he was excited, he found it, you were probably like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Rather than being like, celebrating the fact that we found it.
You're breaking up again, Tom.
Oh, my stupid internet. I'm right now don't have a whole lot of faith in my internet.
We need to have faith that Tom's going to fix his internet sometime soon. I'm not sure what the problem is, but it seems like Mondays your internet is not happy.
Yeah.
Is it back? Are you back? You're still a little fuzzy looking to me, but so Tom, touche. Before we get too far down the road, do you have a one thing today that we can work on?
Well, if we're talking about faith and what it is.
We are talking about faith and what it is. That's
okay,
yes.
Great. So,
I'm like, not to clarify.
Well, sometimes we start somewhere and then we wander. And the nice thing is we do always come back to our one thing, which gets us back to our topic if we were off topic. I would say that, the thing to me about faith is that it's the belief that something will happen. I think so often we want it to be the belief that what we want will happen rather than just that something will happen. It's that thing is, with every action, there is a result. The challenge is, I think our faith is we want the result to be what we want it to be, not what it is likely to be. So our expectations create challenges. They create the challenge of, well, why do I have faith? Because it's not achieving what I wanted to achieve. If I planted a seed and nothing grew, I'd be like, what happened? And then I planted another seed and nothing grew. I wouldn't have a whole lot of faith in that result.
I wouldn't plant just one seed. That's an optimistic way to plant only one seed, right? I mean, think about it. My wife and I planted tomatoes yesterday. We planted 4 tomato plants because the statistical odds of 4 is at least 1 or 2 are going to produce. And we picked different varieties and different types, and we did all those things with the intention of getting tomatoes in July or August. That's the goal. I have every expectation, but I also have faith. I got up this morning and watered the plants and have the faith that by watering them every morning for the next 3-4 weeks till they get adjusted and all that good stuff, I'm going to start to see tomatoes. And that's happened year after year. So, but if I were to plant, I don't know, what's something that's underground? Horseradish. I planted horseradish one time. We put it underground. You can't see it.
Right.
Your faith is that, 1, you remember where you put it, but 2, you got to dig and find it. Now, what's interesting about horseradish, if you've ever planted horseradish, you've planted horseradish for your neighbors and for pretty much the whole zip code because it goes crazy. But you can't see it. You can't water it. It's pretty much an act of faith that, hey, that little guy's doing his thing.
Well, right. I mean, I think the challenge is that it's what do we set our expectations on? What is our, if we start a business because we want to be a millionaire and that's the only expectation, when it doesn't happen, we lose faith in something, our ability, the product, whatever we were trying to do, the service, any of those things. If we can say, I'm building a business because I want to help people or I want to solve this challenge. And then we can be and accept the little steps that go along to get there. and have faith that if all of those things continue to happen, that there's a chance that this might end up with the result that we desire. It's the expectation that I think is what gets us in trouble, because we don't always reach the expectations, because usually our expectations are pretty high. And if that doesn't happen, it's easy to lose faith in what we are trying to accomplish.
I like that. I'm going to work in another comment. This is from Phil D. Correct explanation of faith for me, Tom. So DJ Phil D is tracking with you this morning. My one thing this morning, Tom, is that we should celebrate taking the actions. I never really thought about it that way. But if I had done a little celebration each time I got a chapter done, that would have helped me not just move forward. I think it would have renewed my faith. Like, hey, wow, I'm getting closer to this goal of having a book. If I made 5 sales calls today, my goal might have been 10, but I make 5 today. Hey, that's 5 more than if you didn't make any. And
Correct.
Progress is what I think we lose sight of as entrepreneurs, as leaders, because it's not like, sometimes I like to bake. It's rare, but when I do, it's usually because nothing that I'm working on is anywhere close to being finished. And I feel like I'm just in this hole of the middle ground. So cooking something or making something in my little shop just gives me oh yeah, I can finish something. Because having faith over a long-term project, if you're working on a website development project, if you're working on a book, if you're working on starting a business or a new venture or going into a new product or service line, that takes a lot of time. And day to day, it's hard to keep the faith. But I think the idea you bring up of celebrating each step along that way, not only will I think that gives us continued faith, I think it's going to inspire us to become more creative over time.
Sure. Because I think that the challenge is that we always look at the big step. That's the expectation. If we look at the little steps, celebrate those along the way, we can have faith that, hey, I did this and I got this result. Great. Well, if I do this, there's a chance that I'll get the next good result. And because it happened once, there's a chance that it'll happen again. And I think that so often we don't celebrate those little steps because we don't see them as a big enough leap. We want to move mountains, and really we need to move this little rock first, and then we can move the next rock. And before we know it, we have started to move a mountain.
Nice. All right, Tom, you want to bring us home?
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Please feel free to share your one thing about faith, because I am sure there are lots of different thoughts and ideas about it out there. So please feel free to share it in the comments, whether you are watching right now or if you're watching this as a replay later on inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. And if you are not yet a member of the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, please join us. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then just ask to join. It is a private group because we are trying to bring together a group of people who understand they have a pathway and understand that along that pathway, there are next steps, and that when they complete those, they will celebrate them. So please feel free to join us inside of there. Just tell us why you're a renegade and you can become a part of that group. And if you are struggling to figure out what your next step is and are just uncertain, or you have taken steps and you haven't seen the results or that you expected, maybe there's a need to reevaluate what those next steps are. And that's exactly what we try to help people do inside our Ring of Renegades, our Renegade Success Network. So if you are interested in that, here's some further information about it. We will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day. Are you struggling to make your vision a reality? Are you stuck and don't know what to do next? Are fear and doubt holding you back? The Renegade Success Network will help you determine the next steps on your pathway. Here is some of what you will get. Create your pathway call to start you on a better path. Unlimited laser solution sessions to keep you from getting stuck. Nurture your network events to build your network with other successful leaders. Monthly Renegade challenges to prepare you for what lies ahead. The Renegade Success Vault, giving you access to videos, tools, and tips on specific topics anytime you need them. And the Renegade Success Network community, an exclusive Facebook group of like-minded renegades, all working towards achieving their goals. You have a choice. Do it yourself and fumble forward slowly and alone. Or join the Renegade Success Network and be part of a community built to help you find your own pathway. Join today at renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Act now and jumpstart your journey on your own pathway to success.